Hello and welcome to Feel Good Friday, our monthly dose of positivity right here on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And boy, do we need positivity right now. If you're like me, the weight of the world, both in our community and worldwide, is certainly a lot to take right now. And it feels an awful lot like we're in the same spot we were almost a year ago. So I'm doing my best to look for the positive, and today we're going to do that in talking with an organization leader here in Memphis that is really helping a lot of folks through the pandemic and helping bring us all together and have some really important community conversations. So I'm going to welcome to the show today, President and CEO of MIFA here in Memphis, Sally Hines. Sally, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Great. It's so good to be with you this afternoon. A dose of positivity is definitely in order.
And that is something I think MIFA has always been really good at, both addressing the tough stuff, but bringing folks together. Let's start, for those who are watching who aren't familiar with the work of MIFA. What does MIFA do, and how can folks get connected with that work?
Well, MIFA, the Metropolitan Interfaith Association, our mission is to support vulnerable seniors and families in crisis. We do that through some programs that might be familiar, like Meals on Wheels, getting a meal to a senior that might otherwise not be able to keep staying in their home, and also through rent and utility assistance for families that might need just that little bit of help to help them stay in their homes.
And Meals on Wheels is something I've done before. It's a really great way to interact with folks who, they love the company, and to be able to see other parts of the community. I always say it doesn't take much, maybe an hour of your time. Now more than ever, though, I mean, I think we've said that a million times in the last 18 months, now more than ever. But really, your work has been become only that much more important as people are inside, as people are worried about their personal health and their families. And you've seen a lot of support come from your staff, really pulling through to make this happen. Talk a little bit about the staff that has pivoted and pivoted again.
Right. It has been such a year, and I'm so proud of the MIFA staff who, with the help of a very generous community, has been able to serve even more. We served more meals. We helped more families. The staff was brave, and they were resilient, and they were flexible, because everything had to change. The pandemic changed everything. Meals on Wheels that we delivered 5 days a week. Well, how do you do that safely during a pandemic? Our emergency services and our work with families was face-to-face with families, and how do you do that safely during a pandemic? So we had to change operations on so many levels, and our volunteers, we had to change those operations as well.
Well, and one of the things that we're here to talk about today is another example of 2 years now that you've had to change the way you do a really important event, which is called Our City, Our Story. Last year, all virtual, one of the first virtual events of the fall, such trendsetters you are. And this year, you're doing this yet again in a virtual format. Can you talk about first what Our City, Our Story is, and then what the conversation will be this year?
Yes, this is the third year for Our City, Our Story. And as you said, the second year that we were doing it virtually, which does give us the opportunity to work with you all. So that's exciting. But also the opportunity to have two really fantastic speakers this year. The goal of Our City, Our Story from the beginning has been just to bring the community together in conversation, typically around issues. The first year we had it, it was around people experiencing homelessness. And then last year it was on the topic of eviction. This year, the topic is a little more abstract, but I think very important for where we are in this time. And it's about coming together.
Right.
As we said, we thought we might be moving out of the pandemic back when we planned this in the winter, and maybe we're not as far along as we thought. But still, as we do move forward from a period of separation, physically, politically, fragmented, ideologically apart, how do we connect again? How do we find what we have in common? What actions can we take personally that can make a difference in our community? So really, how do we move forward?
And those conversations are going to be with some authors that might be familiar to some of our audience. I'm going to put up this. These are two books that are really well known. I know that I have read one of them and am currently reading the other. Tell us about, first off, how this came to be and the conversations that will be had the day of the event.
These are really two fantastic authors. Kiese Laymon is a Black Southern writer from Mississippi, and he writes eloquently about growing up and living Black in the South. And then, as you mentioned, more listeners, viewers might be familiar with Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, which was, of course, a movie. And she's also written City of Girls. So seemingly two really different individuals, and they have been interested in a long time in just coming together in conversation. And I think through their conversation, we will see how different people can find what they have in common. And we're really excited because they chose our event. They chose Memphis as the place where they wanted to do this. They thought it was important to do it right here, and we couldn't be more excited to have them.
Well, and I know that they're both tremendous writers. They have very different styles. I love reading both of their voices. Of course, I was a chick flick lover. I still am, let's be honest. I was a chick flick lover when that movie came out, so I was very thrilled. But I'm really enjoying the readings and the perspectives and the other author as well, because they're so important. And I think the conversation will be very interesting. I put on the screen here, it's Tuesday, September 14th. It's a virtual format. Folks can go sign up, right, to attend this event at the URL on your screen here. It's community.mifa.org/Our City, Our Story. If you're like me, you can just Google Our City, Our Story Memphis and sign up for that event, which, full disclosure, we're also helping you produce this year. Total bias, right? But I think it's going to be really interesting to hear this conversation and to be reminded that we all have a lot in common, maybe more than we see when we're consuming news and fighting on the internet or feeling in total despair. So hopefully it'll be just a great conversation that fires us up to remember we have some responsibility to take care of each other. Which, speaking of that, I know that that's the work that you do at MIFA, and you're not just planning for the present or planning for this event, quite honestly. You have a plan to continue to serve the community in the future. Talk a little bit about the work you're going to be doing over the next year to 5 years to really continue to serve the needs as they present themselves.
Thanks, Lauren. And as I think about the event that we're describing and also MIFA's work going forward, it does make me think that when MIFA was founded in 1968, the times then are like the times now. And there was tension then, and there's tension now. And there was racism then, and there's racism now. And unfortunately, poverty in 1968 and poverty now. But in 1968, this diverse group of people came together to found MIFA from different faiths and different parts of town and different races. And they did something fabulous. So we can do something fabulous again if we're brave enough. I think that time is now. And one of the things we are really focused on at MIFA is that Memphis is the largest city in the United States with the highest rate of senior food insecurity at 15.6%. And we don't think that should stand. So we really, in the coming years, want to do what we can to make a difference there. How can we grow Meals on Wheels? How can we innovate and layer on more services with that program? I think there's just amazing opportunity there to make a difference.
And like I said, that's a very fulfilling volunteer opportunity, which I haven't plugged here either, but folks can go to your website and sign up. You can safely volunteer with MIFA right now. right? I mean,
You can.
there's
You
a
can.
way to interact and make a difference and not put your own family's health at risk, which I think is also really important. But to have those lofty goals, one of the other things I really admire about the work of you and your staff is that you really put the money into the work. I think you sort of operate almost like a very responsible business, right? And that's something that's really hard to do in the nonprofit space. You also don't have a lot of fanfare behind what you do. You and the team,
just do it.
you just do the work because it needs to be done, and you know that the needs are there, but you also think the current state of where things are is unacceptable. And so we admire the work that you and the staff continue to do. I just want to send you all positive vibes because I know that it's heavy right now and it's hard. And these kinds of conversations that we'll have on September 14th, hopefully will rejuvenate your staff, my staff, the whole world.
The whole world.
We need it. We need it. So one more time, I want to let people know they can sign up to attend this virtual event on September 14th at community.mifa.org/OurCityOurStory. We're going to have a conversation between these two fantastic authors. Sally will be there as well. You get to hear from some supporters of MIFA. Of course, there'll be an opportunity for you to donate. There's always an opportunity for you to donate to MIFA, right, Sally?
That's right. And I do have to say that the virtual tickets, if that's what they're called, are $25 until September 1st, but then they're going to go up. So go ahead and reserve your spot now.
So don't procrastinate. Reserve
right.
it today. Sally, is there anything else you want folks to know about your work or about this event before we call it a day?
MIFA is an amazing place. I am blessed to be there. We are lucky to have such a generous community. And I do want to say thank you to all of those who support MIFA or volunteer.
Absolutely. And we say thank you to them as well and to the staff of MIFA for your continued work. Thank you for taking the time with me on a Friday afternoon of all days to be on the show. And we look forward to your event on September 14th.
Great. Thanks so much for your support. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Sally. All right. So that was a great dose of positivity. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like we can make a difference in very small, important ways in our community. Take that information. I hope you go sign up. I hope you'll tune in that day. You can certainly find it on our social media channels as well. And those books, take some time to read those books, the conversations and the things that are the life experiences that are shared in both of these very different authors, I think is going to be a really neat part of the conversation. And because it's Feel Good Friday, and because I find ways to express myself and my team finds ways to express ourselves creatively, we're going to end today's show with a world premiere. Sounds like a big deal, doesn't it? A world premiere of a look at some of our latest drone footage across the community. It kind of gives you a different perspective of just how beautiful our community is and how wonderful it is to live in this city. So have a great Friday. Be good to each other this weekend. Take care of yourselves. And don't forget to look for the good in the world.